Okay, in this video I'll take you through some of the steps that I use when building models for my tornado simulator scene and for other programs. So I'm in the process of building about 100 models, and that's taken me quite some time, but I'm probably about 3 weeks away from having them complete. And this is one of them, this bike. Now I'm building them for two purposes. One, I build them so they can render nicely with cycles. This is a nice cycles rendering. Though in this case I'm mixing materials. I have GLSL materials in here and cycles material on here. It's only reflecting this surface down like that, but it's the details that matter. And if you look closely, there's nothing connecting there. There's no hubs yet in here, and there's no brakes, no derailleur. But it didn't matter for at this point. If I take this particular model and I move it over into the game environment that I'm working with, so now here it is within the game. Let's run this actually for a second and see what this looks like with the bikes in here. Alright, so there they are in the scene. I placed a bunch of them. So what I'm doing just a performance test. I have kind of a pseudo tornado for the tornado simulator in here. I haven't put the tornadoes back in here yet. But I'm looking for the way the bikes interact with the surface. I can see that I need to change the origin of the bike so I have a better boundary for when it reacts with things. And so in here, you'll notice you really just need a hint in some cases of the bike. You see the handlebars and the seat and the pedals, but in many cases the way this particular game is going to work, as you're moving through the scene, you won't necessarily see all the details of the bike. You don't need to see all the details of the bike when these bikes are, say, within the bike shop that I'm building, okay? And so that's why I've left a lot of those details out. So let's go back and take a look at the bike again. And let's get out of here. Let's see, I'm in the cycles mode right now, so let's leave cycles mode and go back to Blender Render for a second. Alright, so I've intentionally made the teeth a little bit bigger so they're a little more visible, because if you make real teeth on here, you have to make them really sharp points. And notice, yeah, there's the missing hubs. If you look at the spokes are only made out of 5 sides all the way around. If you look really closely at the wheels and the tires, you can start seeing the segments in the tires, but that's fine for any distance. And yet already this particular model has, let's see if we'll take a look at it. Is it really true? Yeah, 4,676 faces. So that's a huge amount for this particular game that I'm working on. And in fact, if we look at the game already, a lot of times what I'm doing, I'm building performance tests in advance to see what the system can handle on my GTX 470. That's going to be my base reference system for this. And I have a fair amount of stuff in here. And in fact, even I have these corn plants that I modeled in Blender, and you can see in here they're just they're okay. They're nothing great, but they're just for the distance in some cases. But again, it's a performance test, because you can see all the things in the scene. Those corn plants, each one of those patches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6 patches. Each one of those is 50,000 polygon faces each, right? So there's 300,000. There's another 25,000 there, 325,000. So it's loaded, and I have a lot more details. Say, for instance, if you look up close at let's go look at the vehicle here. You can see a fair amount of detail. These are fairly well modeled seats on the inside like this. This is from one car line here company. This is your your touring sedan. If you have a good job, you can have a nice car with a nice V8 engine, and this is your economy chasing vehicle with a little 4-banger. And here's a 6-cylinder vehicle for chasing tours like that. And so I'm pushing maybe 350,000 polygons in the scene, and I have a pretty good idea how it's going to work at this point. But maybe 3 weeks to a month before I've completed all the models. The models make a huge difference in whether you're doing a game or a simulation. Even on this, for instance, there's pretty good detail if you look up closely at this. Let's see. on here. It doesn't render as nice in Cycles, but it's pretty good detail to the model, more so than you really need in here. But I'm not a huge fan of texture maps, and I'm kind of pushing for the day when, here's some texture maps underneath the corn plants, but I'm pushing for the day where I can basically illustrate the entire scene like I'm illustrating a painting without texture maps. And so I'm in no super hurry. Hopefully by somewhere, well, actually before the end of the year is when I plan to release it, and in sometime next month I'll probably do my first Indiegogo campaign for crowdfunding this project. It's not, tornado chasing isn't the biggest hobby on the planet, but there's a lot of people interested, and it's not for the faint of heart either, because I have a pretty good sense of bringing these environments back to life. And of course we're heading down towards the world of virtual reality, which is where this is all heading, and I assure you I will take you to the storm. So if you're for the faint of heart, this is probably not the kind of game or simulation for you. So let's see, in this bike though, one of the reasons I've mentioned here before the way I design is, let's see if I can show this to you. I'll have to move this over here. Alright, so here's all my materials on the bike, and the reason I do it this way is I've showed you this in my my tsunami simulator that I was working on. I have all my GLSL materials in here, and then down here I'm replicating them with Cycles materials, and that way I can mix and match them how I want in the scene. And more importantly is I can just grab, like here, the rear spokes. I'll just clear everything out. Rear spokes, left side, I select, I have just those in there, so it allows me to quickly either add different materials or swap them out. Same with here, like the crankset. Where is it? I should have a crankset. There's my GLSL crankset. So it doesn't show up, but that's because I had rendered it with a Cycles crankset there. So that one's currently active with Cycles. It's easy enough within the, yikes, don't want to do that, easy enough within the bike store that I'm designing is that I can have a wall full of these different cranksets in order to just swap them out. And not only just for that purpose, but when you have a design this way and you have everything built like this, then you just move your cursor to the selected like this, and then it's easy to move any new object to that exact same location. And the same reason I'm using all these tubes individually separated, because then I can easily color them, and it's easy to color them like this. And then right at the very end, when I know what models I want, then I'll just weld these together. Easy enough. Or then I can swap out the bars or things of that nature. It's quite time consuming building all the models for the project, and that's what I've been busy doing for the last couple of months, but I'm almost done. And then I can really get to work on everything else. Okay, well that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.